Football in the Lone Star State is unmatched compared to any other state within the country. It is the one area in terms of college football that still, I feel, has a good sense of regionality. Even if there's a bunch of teams within the state, within different conferences, that passion and that pride of your school and the team that you are a fan of is still very much there within the state. And I would argue in the 2020s, this is the strongest that the state of Texas as a collective has been in a very long time. Because the 2010s was a very odd time, I would say, for the state of Texas, as the University of Texas was taking a step back and not having its best years in decades. We had Baylor, TCU, Texas A&M all have their big moments within the state as the premier program. And since then, things have drastically changed. We have Texas A&M and Texas in the same conference now. They're finally playing each other since 2011, which is a great thing for the sport. TCU and SMU have started a rivalry that I think is one of the most underrated in the entire country. The battle between Daddy's Money is really interesting, just solely off the fact that last year, one of their coaches got kicked out. That fire between these two programs is there. Athletic departments like Baylor, Houston, Texas Tech continue to funnel money into these programs, and they continue to rise up the ranks. We could even dive into the group of five where UTSA and Texas State both have had really good moments as a football program and continue to rise up the ranks, to a point that they are probably going to join the Pac-12. And with a unique situation like the state of Texas, where high school fields are on the same level as Division I programs, training facilities for high schools rival the Dallas freaking Cowboys. I'm not kidding, Google it. This is a perfect time for me to go through and rank the top 5 programs with an honorable mention for the state of Texas, because I'm sure people will react completely normal to this list and have zero problems. But before we dive in, welcome from Snap to Whistle Football, where we only talk about football around here. And take a beat, take a moment and see, are you subscribed? Because a lot of you guys, based on the analytics, are not subscribed and you continue to return. It would mean the world to me to show some support as we continue to build out this channel, because all I want to do is talk football with you guys. But we can go ahead and dive in. Let's set the stage. We're not talking about what this team is going to look like for the 2025 season. This is from the stretch of the year of 2020 to right now. And some of the factors you want to bake into the pie of what is a great college football program is, are you having great talent acquisition? And not only that, are you able to take that talent, have sustained success on the field, but also send them to the NFL? Because that is what you are selling to these kids, is that you could come to this program, win some football games, and go to the NFL, the end goal. Pair that with coaching stability and actual funding for your college football program that leads to incredible facilities and great NIL deals. Because truthfully, in 2025, that's the world we live in. So if we were to rank the top 5 programs in the state of Texas, Texas has to be number 1. If you were to take an average of their recruiting rankings, they are 6.5 average in their class over the past 5 years. Only Texas A&M comes close with a top 10 average. They're also the only ones over that 5-year span with 2 college football playoff appearances. And they nearly double anybody else in terms of NFL production with 33, and also 6 first rounders if you want to be super detailed. Truthfully, I don't know if there's much to say here. Texas is the premier program in the state. Right now, you can't really make an argument for any other program. Because like I said, if you just go through these different categories, yeah, you have some teams that could potentially match up with them in terms of what that statistic is. I think of Texas A&M in terms of talent acquisition. But it's been heavily documented how much Texas A&M has underperformed on the field. They have not made a college football playoff appearance at all, and yet they are matching talent for talent with Texas. And if you disagree with Texas being the number 1 option on this list, I want to hear your reason why for any of these other programs. Maybe TCU because they have a national title appearance, but they are not matching up on any other factor for a college football program. Which leads me to say Texas A&M is easily going to be number 2 for me. Now, I understand when anybody talks glowingly about Texas A&M, there's going to be questions on whether or not you are actually talking about the games on the field, because they have underperformed. I don't deny the fact that there's also some coaching instability. They have not been able to have the right guy come into that program post Johnny Manziel and get them to that next level of a college football program. But before I dive into the reason why they're number 2, I need to hear, if you disagree, why would you have any other team in front of them? Sure, Baylor has a Big 12 championship. TCU has a national title appearance. SMU has made the college football playoff, but none of those play in the SEC. And the talent acquisition gap is massive between all the other schools within the state. And outside of Texas and Texas Tech, they're the only other team that has 4 bowl appearances over that 5-year span. And they are second place in terms of NFL production, with TCU being in third with only 3 less, but a lot of that is stemmed from that 2022 year. And sure, you can make fun of Texas A&M for whatever you want it to be. It could be about the traditions, it could be about the underperforming, it could be the fact that just Texas A&M fans could be a little odd. Coming from one, I understand what you're saying. But at the end of the day, you can't look at another team within the state and say that they match up with whatever Texas A&M is going to provide. And to me, the list really starts at number 3. And with the national championship appearance carrying a lot of the weight around, I am going to put TCU there. Now, if TCU was to have no life after that national championship appearance, obviously not to the same level, but be completely dead in the water, have back-to-back under 500 seasons, they would probably drop off a lot more. But I also was very detailed in the fact of how much talent was leaving the building after that championship run, and the fact that it was going to be very difficult for a team like TCU or any team across the country to bounce back from that. And they honestly learned the hard way that the transfer portal can be extremely volatile. We saw what happened with Florida State. And in terms of talent acquisition, TCU, they have a sizable lead compared to the rest of the field. While everyone is in the 40s ranked around then, they're at number 33. And mind you, they've peaked the highest out of anyone, including teams like Texas A&M and Texas. Now, I won't deny from the fact that they are getting carried by that national championship run. And it may just be an anomaly, and 5 years down the road, it'll look like a blip on the radar compared to everything else that they've done. But the fact that they had a 9-4 record last year, and I project that they're going to look pretty good this upcoming season with Josh Hoover, I do believe that TCU is still the 3rd best program within the state, but they're in a tier with all the rest of the field. And with number 4, it's SMU, the fastest riser within the state. Let's not forget, just a minute ago, they were in the Conference USA winning the conference championship. They go to the ACC and they make it to the conference championship game in their first year. Not only that, they get to the college football playoff. Obviously, they get obliterated by Penn State. Everyone wants to focus on that. But SMU continues to rise up the ranks. And truthfully, this is a team that if you wanted to put in front of TCU, I honestly wouldn't blame you because of the recent success. And they've had an extensive jump in terms of talent acquisition. They were in the hundreds in terms of recruiting rankings in 2024, and now they jumped to 31st. That's an insane jump for recruiting. And I think a lot of people are buying what Coach Lashley is selling. And like I said at the beginning, TCU and SMU, they don't like each other. This is a budding rivalry that I think is going to grow as time progresses. I think the DFW area is going to be better because of it. And truthfully, I just wish SMU was in the Big 12 because it just makes more sense. And then with the 5th best spot for the college football program in the state of Texas, I'm going with the volatile Baylor Bears. And I say volatile for a reason. I mean, they won a Big 12 championship, took a dip for the next couple years, and they continue to rise back up in the rank. This is a team that projects to have a very good 2025, as a lot of people think Baylor is going to be a sneaky contender within the Big 12, paired with the honorable mention that I'll talk about here in a second. And very similar to TCU, I am weighing the fact that they have a conference championship, something that the honorable mention does not have. And sure, they don't have the same amount of NFL talent compared to a team like TCU, Texas A&M, and Texas, but they're right in the tier with their peers. And they've been pretty consistent in terms of recruiting. I know Dave Aranda was on the hot seat, but this is me also just buying into the fact that I think their trajectory is posing in a very positive direction. If they were just dead in the water, honestly, I would have Texas Tech in front of them. But Texas Tech right now, I think, is on the outside looking in. And I get it. They have the $40 million roster, the beautiful transfer portal. I'm going to have to see it to believe it. I always joke that Texas Tech is just Texas A&M stuck in the Big 12. There's reason to believe why Texas Tech could be a very good team and rise up the ranks very quickly like we saw with an SMU. But right now, if you just look over the 5-year span, there's nothing on paper that I can really believe in. No conference championships, no college football playoff appearances, and they don't even finish the season ranked over the past 5 years. They're in 4th place in terms of talent acquisition, and they're in 4th place in terms of NFL talent being produced. Trust me, I believe in Joey McGuire. I don't deny the fact that I think that they're going to be very good very soon, but it's one of those things that I can't just magically believe that they're all of a sudden going to be very good and put them high on this list already. You're going to have to show me. But with that in mind, that's the whole list. You see it on your screen. I want to hear from you. What would you change about this list? And give me a reason why. You can't just say, oh, Texas Tech has a $40 million roster. They should be number 3. Texas A&M should be dropped down because they're underperforming. Give me a defined reason on why you think my list is wrong. So I won't hold you guys for too much longer. Get out of here, and I will see you guys next time.